So I've just listened to the first 3 episodes of the Telepathy Tapes, and they've made me very emotional. And the reason why, like from the get-go, from the first one, I felt so emotional. And the reason is because for me, it makes absolute and utter sense. It's normal, it's natural, it's how we used to communicate, eons ago. The emotionality is like, we're remembering. And, in the 3rd episode, there was one woman saying that, you hear the word telepathy and it's so hard to believe. And I'm looking at it going, it's so hard for me to believe that people think it's hard to believe. Like, I come from that perspective. One of my favorite books when I must have been maybe 12. In school, I did a book report on the mute message, which was all about the Aboriginals. And you know what my favorite part of it was? They spoke to one another telepathically. For me, it was just, it's like a soul remembrance, right? It's so natural and innate. And so I feel so excited that this is coming out mainstream. And equally, I found myself feeling really frustrated because, listen, I know that there's a purpose to science. I'm not going to poo-poo on scientists and people that believe science. But let me just say this. Science is incredibly limited. It's incredibly limited. It does not know yet what mysticism has known for thousands of years, what spirituality has known for thousands of years, what your intuition already knows. And having grown up in the Bay Area in California, where there was a general, much more open-mindedness. I remember in my teens, even in my early 20s, it was like you had to kind of be quiet about certain things, or you couldn't really communicate them to that many people because you would be the oddball. Like, I've always been the black sheep because I've always believed in all of these things that would be considered like woo-woo or taboo or all of these things. So when people think, oh, consciousness isn't rising or not fast enough, sometimes it feels like, if I look back at the last 20 years, actually it has changed a lot. It has changed a lot. I remember when I moved to London, it was like way behind California, and then noticing over the time being there that, like, oh, this is becoming more mainstream language. The unfortunate thing is then you have the woke movement that's like, there's always the inverse. There was always like the agenda that will try to manipulate, right? And take what is pure and make it into something that's impure. So I'm just going to like bench that to the side. But why did I feel inspired to come on here? Because these are the times that we're moving into. We're moving into the times where you're going to start hearing your intuition more. You're going to start questioning, who am I beyond just this flesh suit? What am I doing in my life? Is my 9 to 5, serving me? What really has meaning? What is my purpose? What is my mission? What is true connection? Who are we? What is our design? And what are our capacities and abilities that we haven't been told about? And I'm going to use those words very specifically. We have purposefully not been told who we truly are. And I can just say, because I believe in walking my talk, I can just say that the more that I've given myself the permission to unapologetically and without any censorship, to just truly trust my intuition, my psychic abilities, the moments where it's like my daughter and I, it's not the conscious telepathy that like you're seeing, in these tests on the telepathy tapes, because these kids, that's the way they've communicated in their own world for however many years they've been on the planet. But because I spend so much time with my daughter, I cannot tell you daily the moments that I'll say something. She's like, I just was thinking that. Or she'll say something, I was just about to say that. And it didn't have anything to do with what we were doing or what we were talking about. It's a completely random, different thought, right? So for me, it's really exciting because it's like, thank God we're remembering. We're remembering who we are. We're coming out of this slumber. We're coming out of this suppression. It's where science can come in is in partnership. Like, it drives me crazy when it's like, in the beginning, I felt, when this one scientist was saying, my colleagues aren't going to buy this. This isn't going to be a scientific test. And I just got, God, I just thought, like, it's like this grumpy little old man that's like, prove it, prove it. It's like, how do you prove love? How do you prove that you love someone? You can say, oh, well, it's an action, it's in behavior, but it's a feeling, it's an energy, it's a resonance, it's a magnetic frequency, right? So all of these things, there's going to be a huge language that's going to come online now for us all that is going to go so much further beyond the kind of really teeny, tiny, completely unmagical world that we've been living in. And it's not about fantasy, and your mind might test you, your left brain might test you, your indoctrination might test you, the people in your life might test you. And again, I'm not poo-pooing science, but just know that it's limited, that it cannot know what already exists. The whole point is that it tries to prove something that has already existed. So if it can prove it, it means it's already been there. It's already existed. I remember having this conversation with my ex-boyfriend being like, if it proves something, it was already there, right? And you can feel it, you can sense it, you can know it. And this is what we're dropping into, is not knowing through here, but knowing through here and knowing through the whole fucking field. And that's when life gets really like exciting and expansive. And I will use the word magical. It just is. It's magical. My latest thing is asking for signs, and it's very specific, and it's uncanny how it presents. You're in constant communication. You're in constant communication with something that we believe is unseen. And probably as we, remember, I'm going to say remember instead of awaken, once we remember more, we'll realize that it's all around us, and maybe we'll begin to see it. But even we don't need to see things with our eyes. We can see things through our field, which is a sense, right? And it's getting stronger and stronger. And that's the thing that for me gives me hope for humanity. Honestly, it gives me hope for humanity, because this is what we need, is we need to remember our abilities, capabilities. We need to stretch our little teeny tiny narrow minds. I say that with all due respect, but it will make life so much more meaningful, because we will be returning to our true state, and therefore we will be returning to home, and there will be peace there. There will be peace. We don't need to be in this conflictual, war-driven world that is led by people that don't want you to know how powerful you are. And of course, the power, like when you hear about these kids, they're so empathic, they're so loving, they're so kind, they're so patient. We have so much to learn from them. So ego aside, humility, humbleness, openness, what if, curiosity, like what if it was all possible? Wouldn't that be magical? So it gives me hope, makes me excited, makes me emotional. Just wanted to share that. Loving you from afar. Bye.